Coffee time. Somehow I never learned to more. It's like my life just started over. But there's one thing for sure. Today I fell in love with you all over again. All right, good morning, good morning. My wife is doing some inviting, so I just want to say good morning. It's 8 o'clock. We're going to hit the ground rolling. We just want to let you know how much we appreciate you this morning. We know it's a muggy day out there, but no matter what it is out there, this is the day that the Lord hath made, and we will rejoice and be glad in it. So we are excited about sitting and chatting and just, dining with you this morning. Please forgive me if I clear my throat. I've been having some allergy issues, but that's not going to stop us from doing what we want to do today. So, again, I am Gerald.
I'm Millicent.
And this is Marriage Matters, because your marriage matters. So, I want to just say I'm very excited about, we saw a Facebook post, and Uncle Jesse went to hang out for a little date night. So we're very happy about that. Because everybody needs time to be able to get away, hang out with their wife, their friend, hang out with their husband, their friend, their best friend, and just be able to enjoy our evening and not be stressed out about whatever happened during the week, or even what happened the last, 2 or 3 hours before coming home. So on last week, we talked about, let's talk money. Let's talk about money. So we're going to turn it up a mini notch, and we're going to talk about if finances get out of control.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to give you some scriptures, quite a few, so that you can be able to refer back to when looking at this lesson. It's very important that God is his number one position as it relates to finances. What you do with your first fruits makes a difference. So when we talk about first fruits, we're talking about your check and what you do with your money as it relates to God. Now, we can't make you do anything, but we can talk to you about what we do and what has been successful and what has continued to cover us for the 24 years that we've been married, and then even before we were together, and we were single, and we were in two different households. Tithing is important, so we've been able to consistently tithe, consistently let God know who's in first position, and he has covered us from a whole lot of serious financial issues because of that, because we honored him with our first fruits. So what I would like to do is kind of recap what we talked about last week.
Okay.
And we discussed, we talked about how to tithe off of the gross of your check and not the net. I know that can be difficult for some people because they're only looking at what comes in, but the principle of God is to tithe off to give him the 10% of your fruits, your labor. And so if Medicare and Social Security and FICA and all of those people can go and get finances first,
right,
then we're putting all of those individuals in those different entities below God. So he gets his money first in this household. Good morning, Miss Doris. Good morning, Miss Eileen.
Good morning, Charlie.
Good morning, Miss Charlie. Miss Charlie. So we're we're trying to make sure that you can kind of understand what our blueprint is. For good morning, Ms. Thompson. So we kind of, talking about that blueprint that we use as far as tithing, and it has been successful for us. And so hopefully after we finish this lesson and tie in what we talked about for last week, then we can kind of bring in some more what, glue.
Yeah, some more glue to
Bring
make it stick,
make it stick,
make it gel together.
yeah, come, so it can be a little bit more cohesive. So good morning, baby.
Good morning.
Declaration time.
Okay.
All right, so as we approach the springtime, when all the flowers bloom and this tree sing, I just want to make sure that she's all laughing. I just want to make sure that you know that you are a priority and that we'll continue to do the things we do as far as date night. But since we made those what are those coupons, those redeemable coupons, yeah, I will make sure that your redeemable coupons will be honored.
Okay.
All right, that's my declaration.
To honor my redeemable coupons.
Yeah, because I mean we did that, and then we haven't really visited that again. So I want to be able to do some of those things that are on there, and whatever given times that we can do them. And we have some fun, and then it's what we wrote down. So I don't want to do something we wrote it down and we don't make an attempt to do it. So there you go.
So my declaration to you is, I will try to be more spontaneous with different things.
Okay.
I'm more one of those people that's by the book, by the schedule. If it's not on my schedule, I have time to do it.
Okay.
But my declaration to you is to be more spontaneous in our relationship.
Okay. Well, let's go with both of those because I know we can do it. So.
Good morning, Miss Cynthia.
Hey, Miss Cynthia, how are you? And so we're gonna, and again, we're using some prayers from this book, A Book of Prayers for Couples by Stormy O'Martian. There is a prayer in here that talks about finances, so I will read it, and then we'll start delving into these scriptures. It says, Lord, help my husband and our wife and me to remember that it is you who gives us the ability to produce wealth. Deuteronomy 8:18. That the earth is yours and everything in it belongs to you. Psalms 24 and verse number 1. That you, Lord, own every animal and every creature and the cattle on 1,000 hills. Psalms 50 verses 10 and 11. Everything we have comes from you. So help us to be good stewards of our finances. Help us to be calm and wise in handling money so that we may prosper and not make hasty, rash, or impulsive decisions. Proverbs chapter 21 and verse number 5. Help us to work diligently to be content with what we have and learn to give. Proverbs 21, 25 through 26. Last week we used the foundational scripture that came from Malachi 3 and 10. And so it was talking about bringing you the tithes to the storefront, to the storehouse, so that, it will be meat in his house. And so that's why we talked about tithing. We talked about tithing off the gross of the check and not the net. And we also talked about being able to understand that, it's not just a check. I don't know if we made that real clear last week. So let me reiterate that. So if we're talking about tithing, if we receive some bonus check in the mail for whatever reason, it's $200, then we're going to tithe off that. Well, you already tied off your check. We tied off whatever we get coming through this home. Right. So if it's a bonus, if it's a check from an insurance company, we overwrote something, hey, we tied off of that. Because we're letting God know that when we get a blessing, and in our hearts and in our mind, we believe that the blessing is coming from him, then we're going to bless the blesser first, if that makes sense. We're going to bless the blesser first. So what I want to do is I want to circle back around, and I want to go to Deuteronomy 8 and verse number 18, and my wonderful wife will read that, and we will kind of start jumping into it.
Good morning, Miss Carol.
Good morning, Miss Carol. How are you doing, Miss Woodard?
Okay, so Deuteronomy
8 and 18.
And verse 18 says, "But remember the Lord your God, for it is he who gives you the ability to produce wealth, and so confirms his covenant, which he swore to your ancestors as it is today."
So when it says that he gives you the power to give wealth, and then he also talks about a covenant that he made with the people that are long gone, now they're long gone. And then if he made that promise to them, he's going to still fulfill that promise to us. And so God gives us the power to get wealth. And so when you talk about your job, that may be a way of receiving funds for services rendered because you work at an organization, institution, whatever. But what about the other power to get wealth? What if you're selling something on the internet from your closet, like some of these other people do? That's still power to get wealth.
Yes.
Let's say you're making if you're making something, but like I do cookies. That's power to get wealth, and we tied off that too. When we go out to events, we know we have to purchase things to be able to have that spot at that event and do all those things. But when all that is done, then we still tied off of all of our earnings out on the top. But what about if you have to buy supplies and all that? Tied off of the earnings at the top. And so we do that.
And give God what is his.
Give God what is his. So the power to get wealth is an important thing, because I don't want you to be subjected to just what you do with your job. Power to get wealth means that you have some talents that you can do. Some people, they go and cut yards when they're not working. But if they're really good at what they do, then the power to get wealth is they're going to have constant repeat customers.
That's right.
So whatever it may be that you do, if you have a full-blown business that's away from your job, that is the power to get wealth. And God is not frowning down on that. I'm not speaking for God, but what I'm saying is when you give him the first fruits, then that gives you the ability to continue to reap a harvest from what you've planted to the king first, and then all of those other things shall continually be added to you.
And what happens when whatever you're doing, if you do that as you're doing it unto the Lord, how much more is that blessed?
It's blessed. I think that you attract an audience, and it doesn't matter what kind of person it is. When people see that you blessed, they're inquisitive to know what was your formula, what it is that you did. Mm-hmm. And so that gives you a platform to be able to say, hey, this is what I did. I honor God first. It seems like something very simple.
It's a platform to witness.
If it's $1, 10%, 10 cents go to God. If it's $10, $1 go to God. $20, $2. I mean, it's the 90-10 principle. 90% of your money you can keep. God is only asking for 10. And then if you continue to really let that re-season your heart, then you're going to find opportunities to give, because you know that if you give and you plant into fertile soil, the blessing that fall on those people going to fall on you.
That's right.
Not because well, I'm going to do this because this is going to happen. I'm doing this because this can open a door for them. And in that door opening, it's going to continue to open windows. It's going to continue to open windows for me, so that God will pour out that blessing, and then you won't have a room enough to receive it. So we just want to kind of really break these scriptures down. Good morning, Tori. Good morning, Miss Lydia. Miss
Good
Lydia, we
morning.
love you, Miss Lydia. And so we're going to break down the scriptures because that is the meat of the lesson. Is that when you have tools to put in your toolkit, then you can always go back to that. A person that's on the road, away from everybody, and doesn't have any tools to fix his vehicle, finds themselves stranded. Okay, if that makes any sense. So let's look at Psalms 24 and verse number 1, because it talks about the earth is yours and everything in it belongs to you. You ready?
That's it.
Oh.
The earth is the Lord's and everything in it, the world and all who live in it. That is the scripture.
Oh, sorry. I stole thunder from someone. So your home, your clothes, your food, the air you breathe, your very life, it belongs to the Lord. It belongs to the King of Kings. And so once you acknowledge that, and you acknowledge that with a heart of thanksgiving,
Right.
therein lies the blessing, because you don't feel like you're doing something out of extortion, if that's a word, and being extorted. I have to do this. No, you don't. If you don't want to do it because you love God, then you don't need to do it. But what we're trying to make sure that we confirm with you is that everything in the earth, it belongs to God and the fullness thereof. It says that the Lord owns every animal and every creature, all the cattle on 1,000 hills. That is Psalms chapter 50, verse 10 and 11. But I think I missed some things. You're going to read that for us?
It says, for every animal of the forest is mine, and the cattle on 1,000 hills. I know every bird in the mountains, and the insects in the fields are mine.
Okay, so let me bring that home. If God knows every animal, every creature, then surely he knows what you need, and he understands what you may want. So every time, and it's very, very simple for me, every time I pull up to a place, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Bell.
Mr. Bell, Mr. Tommy Bell. So every time I look at birds jumping around in a puddle of nasty water, getting food at the park off a park bench, and I think about my home and my situation, and I look up and I say, God, if you can take care of a bird that in its own way gives you praise in the morning by singing and chirping, and that bird has shelter, that bird is able to find some food, and that bird is taking and using whatever it has to magnify you, then surely if I honor you with the first fruits of our increase, you're going to take care of us.
That's right.
Not the stuff that we want. I understand that. We have to be able to prioritize, wants and needs. But if being in a home, being able to get to a work, being able to have clothes, those are needs, those basic needs. And surely if God can take care of a bird in the air, he's going to take care of me and my wife and our children. So let's look at, this is the big scripture. We're going to look at Proverbs 21 and verse number 5. And please forgive me because we were supposed to do that scripture first. You said that, didn't you say that? So in Proverbs 21 and verse number 5, right? Yeah. Read that one and we're going to really dive into it.
Oh, you're talking about the big one. No, that's the final one.
Okay.
Okay, so Proverbs 21 and 5, it says the plans of the diligent lead to profit as surely as haste leads to poverty. But this was a big one too.
That's a big one. The plans of the diligent. So these are some words that describe diligent individuals. They are active, they are busy, they are attentive and persistent in doing anything. That is a description of the hands of the diligent. Active, busy, attentive, and persistent. So it talks about being diligent in that scripture. And it also talks about being lazy. Lazy individuals will be poor because they won't put in the effort to go above.
Right.
But we have a God that's always putting in the effort to go above for us. We don't do things right each and every day, but he allows us air to breathe. We may say something or we may harbor something against somebody, but yet we still get up the next day. You need to take full advantage of those opportunities because God is watching you as well as me. So what we want to talk about, what?
So every day that you get up is another opportunity for you to try to get it right.
Yes, ma'am. It's an opportunity to grow because you have another chance.
Right.
He's giving you chance after chance after chance. But when we talk about and I want to show you this, I'm going real slow, then I'm going to go up. That's what happens when you don't give God the first fruits. Well, you can't say that because we don't believe in what you're talking about on here. That's okay. You don't have to. I can guarantee you one thing. If you're not honoring God with the first fruits of your increase, that's where your money is going.
And for those who can't see that, that is money going into the toilet.
Yes, that's a toilet. So it's very important that when we honor God and we let him know that, hey, this is yours. It wasn't mine before I even got it. The fact that you gave me a job so I can be able to plant back into another life. Thank you, Lord. Right. So it's important that we really keep our focus on these scriptures, break these scriptures down. And if it's something that I said that was wrong, please bring it to my attention, because the worst thing I would want to do on my wife is to tell you something and it's inaccurate. So when we study this and go over these scriptures, please pull out your Bible. Yes. So when we look at that and we talk about what it said as far as being diligent, be diligent, be excited about being ready to give to God because he's done all these things for you. Be excited on the fact that if your car stopped this week and it got fixed and it didn't stop again, you had the finances to take care of it. But for the one that doesn't honor God, you may be stranded for a while. Therein lies the dog chasing the tail syndrome. He'll never get to the tail. He will continue to chase. So for us, we know that giving God the first fruits of our increase is establishing a consistent relationship with the King. That he has no, what's the word? I guess he doesn't have any doubt in his mind that no matter how low it may get, we're gonna tithe. Because we've already experienced a 3 chicken wing in the freezer experience where we didn't have any food or anything. Yes. So we understand that with the last of what you may see is only an opening for trusting God. But at that point, if you choose to hold on to the money and not give to the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords, then you can receive something else. But because we experienced that early in our marriage and we saw what God could do, then it was a blessing. Right. Please understand that this is not just about giving unto God, but it's letting him know that he's number one. You're going to need, we need healing in our body. That is an act of love and respect to God. His finances open up a whole lot of other doors. When we just keep talking about clothes, money, and cars and stuff like that, it's other things because of your obedience. And your obedience with love, not with your obedience to, I guess I'm just doing this because of that, with no love into it, or the expectation that, Lord, I already know that this is going to happen. I don't know how it's going to happen, but it's going to happen. Right. So let's look at Proverbs chapter 21 and verses 25 and 26. And we'll talk about that for a second. Okay. So 25 and 26 says, the craving of a sluggard will be the death of him, because his hands refuse to work. The craving of a sluggard will be the death of him,
because his hands refuse to work. All day long he craves for more, but the righteous give without sparing.
Hmm. The righteous give without sparing because they know they're going to be taken care of.
Hmm.
And so I'm going to say this, and I don't really care if it's not going to be offensive. It only is offensive to the one that don't do it. So if you are, I'll say this to a single individual, and you are dating a guy and he does not work, you need to fly, run, horse carriage, boat, train, airplane away from him because he is not going to do anything. It already says it in the word. If he's lazy and he won't work, he's going to be broke.
No.
Well, maybe he'll get a job. He's not going to get a job just because you're pretty. He's not going to get a job just because you believe in him so much. They have to come with something to the table.
That's right.
And if he's not going to work, then you don't go into a joint venture with somebody that's not going to work because it's not going to work. Don't get with someone that doesn't have the means to take care of themselves.
That's right.
Good morning, Miss Joyce.
Good morning.
You get up and you dating somebody and they can't even take care of themselves. So I just wanted to throw that out there because of what it said. Read that again so they can hear that.
The craving of a sluggard will be the death of him, because his hands refuse to work. All day long he craves for more, but the righteous give without sparing.
The righteous give without sparing because they will work. The sluggard will watch and talk and try to condemn the ones that do work and try to figure out how he may swindle somebody in order to get something. So power off all devices.
Well, I can't power the device off.
Yeah, we can't power off the device.
I can cut the volume off though.
So that's important. You cannot be a lazy individual,
Right.
and you call yourself wanting to marry somebody, and you don't have no means to take care of yourself. Don't even put the other person in the equation. If you cannot take care of yourself, at least if you really care about them, let them go. Go get you a job because that's what you're going to need. When you can take care of yourself, then you can entertain trying to help take care of somebody else.
But that goes for the women too. You can't be a lazy woman and talking about trying to get married just because so some men can take care of you. That's not the way. No, because then you're really gonna be a lazy wife.
I'm not responding.
Being a wife is work.
I'm not responding to that.
Being a wife is work.
It is.
But I look at it as goodness. Y'all right? I look at it as a labor of love.
Oh yes.
You know, when you're a wife, a true wife, you work. It's work, but it's a labor of love. You can't go be no lazy wife. Oh, and I'm just gonna let him take care of me and this, that, and the other. You got a job to do.
This one is super duper independent, y'all. Super duper independent. So, you have the tale of two lives. So it really comes down to when you decide to embark on this journey together, what is your game plan to try to get that done? But the main thing that must be in place, the main foundational piece is that both individually should have a relationship with God, and collectively should be seeking God for wisdom, for instruction, for guidance, in how to embark on this journey together. So I want to go back and kind of talk about how we were discussing finances, and we have our board up here, so you can't see our board because there's so much on there that we can't share it with you. But what we have here is, we talk about budget meetings, which we're going to have one pretty much probably after we get off of here, because we really need to prioritize some things for the rest of this month. And one of the things that is big is that you need to first prioritize God first in the budget meeting, meaning you're going to pray and ask God to help you be able to strategically deal with this money.
That's right.
One of the most unusual blessings that we see is when you can look at a bank statement and you can see a plus and a minus, and I won't say the number because I'm not doing that. But then you look at what you have in there and you clearly see that the math does not line up. And you know God is in there. Because we can look to the left and we can look to the right of that paper.
And the numbers are almost the same.
They're the same, but the money is not.
That's right.
So that will be a mystery for us because that is something that we can see. And that is like a constant reminder. I got your back, Mr. and Mrs. Johnson. See how I can take that negative and that positive and they don't even balance out. And then you still have finances to take care not only basic needs, but yes, you can go out on a date night. You ain't got to worry about nothing because I'm taking care of you because you prioritize and put me first. Right. So you prioritize and you put God first. That's what we do. Then we focus on basic needs. Basic needs mean this roof over our head, the utilities to be able to function within this place. Basic needs are making sure that we have clothes on our bodies. Basic needs mean that we need to have food in the refrigerator. Good morning, Miss Kendall Vaughn. We need to have food in the refrigerator. Those are basic needs.
Right.
So when we can take care of those basic needs, then we move on to the next step and we look at bills. And we look at them from least to greatest. Because one thing that we learn is that, you know, whatever situation you in is your fault. So if you are in a financial situation, for whatever reason, it's your fault. Just like it was our fault. And so we had to look at how we were going to pay something and deal with the next one. Right. So we prioritize we focus all our energy on after we deal with having a meeting, prioritizing God, looking at basic needs, then we look at the lowest bill, whichever one that is. And we're going to prioritize and strategically attack that bill. Once we pay that one off, we're going to take the finances that it took to pay that one off, and we're going to add that one to the payment of the next bill, plus the payment that was already due. That's and right. Then we keep on going until we get rid of that one. And so that helps us. One, hey, good morning, baby.
Thank you, ma'am.
Oh, you gonna
thank you.
You gonna give me a refill?
I asked for a refill.
Oh, you text her?
I did.
Oh, that's just really sad. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, honey.
Don't worry about it. If he comes in here, I'll just, okay. So one of the things that was important to us is that we found that when we did that, the excitement of paying someone off, the excitement of knowing that we put a plan together and we didn't deviate from it, and that we allow God to be in the front of that. Not only did we pay it off quicker, it taught us, you know what? We don't need to be a slave to this. So don't get me wrong.
Don't be a slave to the lender.
Just right. So we still got a long ways to go.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest with you.
But we're working. It's a work in progress.
It's a work in progress. So on this board, let me see if I can put. So on this board, we have everything that we prioritize for what we want to attack. And so wherever we can steal some weeks, so we can reduce whatever we got to do to pay somebody off, or when it gets down to a chunk, and we say, you know what, we're gonna suffer. We're not gonna go. We're not going to do, and we're going to take all of that and what that would be, we're going to add that to that, and we're going to pay that off, and we're going to be without for a while.
Yeah.
And we're going to pay that off. So what
that looks like, it's been times where we cut the cable off. We didn't go out to the movies. Mm-hmm. We didn't order out or go eat out. Mm-hmm. We were very strict with that. And so even if we thought about it, going out to eat or whatever that would cost us, we took that extra money and put it on a bill. And, you know, because it gets to a point where it's not about image or having this or having that. It's about, this is a survival game, is what it is. And when you get to survival point, it's by any means necessary. Listen to what I'm saying. By any means necessary. That's not waiting on somebody else to do it. That's not hoping somebody else will do it, and that's not asking for somebody else to do it. You ask God for it. Thank you, baby.
Thank you.
You ask God
All right.
for it. You ask him to bless your mind with a plan.
Amen.
You put that plan down on paper and you work it. You got in that mess, he'll help you get out of it, but you can't sit there and wallow in it and play the blame game on somebody else, because you're going to sit there and continue to sit there.
That's right. Good morning, Arlo, my
Good
brother.
morning.
Lo, what's going on? So we're close to wrapping it up. But one of the things that we want to make sure that you do is you find out what your commitment level is. And I want you to challenge yourself. You pick one of those bills and you prioritize that money to God first, and then you decide what you're going to do. And I guarantee you, when you pay that individual off, the weight that comes off of your shoulder, because now they feel like, what? Yes, sir. Hello, family. Hello, Mr. Henderson. I got to talk to you about something important. And your head going to flip over. So I'll text you once we finish up, Arlo. So once you reach that plateau and you're able to pay them off, then you know everything else after that is downhill. Ain't uphill, it's downhill, because you will be able to put the plan together that you know that can help you to get to that point.
But first, you got to trust God with that. A lot of people, they say, oh yeah, I trust God. I believe he's going to help me with this. But we can't be foolish individuals. You have to listen. If you're getting wise counsel, and I heard somebody say this the other day, that if you're in the presence of wise counsel and they give you a word and it hurt, burn, sting, or whatever, or make you upset, that's because it's wise counsel and you're not doing it.
Yep.
So it hurts. But the ones that really get hurt from it and don't learn from it and put it into practice is the prideful people. Pride comes before a fall. Remember that. We trying to go forward.
Yes. And we're trying to go forward together.
That's right.
So commit to being honest with yourself about where you are in your finances. Commit to being honest with the fact that if you have not given God your first fruits and you're trying to wonder if this can and will work, all you got to do is try it. You don't like it, you can go do what you've been doing. And if you do what you've been doing, you're going to keep getting what you continue to get.
But at that point, you don't have nothing to lose, right?
You don't have anything
so
to
you
lose.
might as well try him.
What's going on there, Mr. Ayala? So my thing is this. We've seen the fruits of what it is. We see these things, and I'm looking up at this board, y'all, because this is our strategy board. I mean, we put this board and we designed this room so we could come in here. We still got a little ways to go. This room is going to be like where we come, we pray, we look at this board, we strategize, and then we have also, we do some other things in here. But
and one of my greatest joys is when I get to erase something off the board.
Because we know that we put the plan together.
That's right.
And sometimes the plan has to be adjusted, don't get me wrong, because life happens. And it will. And something will punch you in the face. But we stick to it, and we're able to pay off people. And when you pay off people, you don't feel slave to people. We want to get to the point where we just go in, we pay cash, we walk out the door. And that's what we've been doing. Save, buy, I don't owe you nothing. Keep moving. It belongs to me. So it's a process that we'll continue to work on, but we're trying to make sure that our children don't get into that debt. So we're teaching them how to save and do the things that we did not do.
Even our babies have started the envelope system.
Yes.
So I like to give massages. Michaela likes to give massages. So our youngest daughter, and I just had to say it because she will go around and give massages. You get 15 minutes for $10. Here's my $10. Come on, hit the shoulders.
Mhm.
But she's taking the money that she's earning from that.
Mm-hmm.
She took her tithes off the top and put that in a separate envelope. Then she split up her other money, what she was going to save and what she was going to spend.
Mm-hmm.
That's a 15-year-old.
And she's prioritizing. And
Yes.
so she's learning because we don't want our children to have to be subject to debt on their shoulders. So we're teaching them because we didn't do it in their way.
That's right.
And later on in life, you just look at all the time you wasted when you could have been really at a different level. You know, we got a child that's already got a Roth IRA, and she doggone not even 25 because she's looking at, hey, I want to be at a certain level in life at a certain age. And when I'm ready to walk away, I'm doing it.
Yeah.
Good morning, Miss
Hey,
Tabitha.
Tabitha.
What on, Tab? So,
But the thing is, again, that comes from being in the presence of wise counsel and putting it to work.
yes.
Because she was around us. She was with us when we were talking about these different things. You know, so she took that to heart. She has an envelope system.
Yep.
She's saving. Now she got a Roth IRA. You 22 years old. Doing your thing, but you putting God first.
Yes. I gotta say this. So audience, I want to share something with you, and only one person that's listening gonna know what this is, but you all, I want you to enjoy, and I want you to take this in. So Tabitha, you remember when we were all at Faith Temple, and you remember when Pastor Irvin would take us out to dinner. Now here it is, you have 7 to 8 couples driving 45 minutes to church. We get to church, we enjoy church. It's not even that many people in the building, Tabitha. Then Pastor Irvin has us to drive. Where did we go, to Memphis? Where did we go to eat? We went somewhere that was about another 50 minutes away. But the issue is, this pastor was, and his name was Apostle Johnny Irvin. And so he would take 8 students and their wives and take them out, take care of his own family, pay for the meal, leave a tip, and then give us gas money to get back to college. Who does that? But he was a sower. He was a giver.
Tab said Clarksdale.
Went to Clarksdale, that's right. Thanks, Tab. And so I'm trying to get you to understand that once you prioritize God from the 10%, then you will venture on to, well, Lord, who can I bless? Who can I sow into? That one needs to know that you have their back, and 2, fertile ground.
That's right.
Planting seeds.
I was getting ready to
They
say.
not, and even if, and I want you to understand something, because people are looking, I don't care if it happens with you. When you plant seeds, these seeds could be further down the line after your children are born.
Right.
And that seed could be for your child. It could be for something else, but you planting these seeds. And so for us, we learned early on about tithing, and we saw a strong man of God give and plant and really didn't expect anything in return, because he basically told us, I'm well taken care of. I like sowing in the people. And so when you try to figure out in your own mind, well, how? I know now because of what he did. So we're going to close this out, and we're going to talk about Deuteronomy 28:12. Deuteronomy 28 and verses 12 and 13. And Millicent going to read that. And then we'll probably talk about Deuteronomy 28 next week too.
Yeah.
All right.
Because I'm really fighting it hard. I'm just going to encourage you, please go back and read Deuteronomy 28.
The whole chapter.
The whole chapter. Yes. Oh my goodness. I was so blessed last night, and I was fighting not to read the whole thing. But I'm going to stick to it and do verses 12 and 13. All right. It was hard. It says, the Lord will open the heavens, the storehouse of his bounty, to send rain on your land in season, and to bless all the work of your hands. You will lend to many nations, but will borrow from none. The Lord will make you the head and not the tail.
Hmm.
If you pay attention to the commands of the Lord your God that I give you this day and carefully follow them, you will always be on top, be at the top, never at the bottom. Do not turn aside from any of the commands I give you today to the Lord, to the right or to the left,
Hmm.
following other gods and serving them.
So Deuteronomy 28 talks about a whole lot of blessings when you are obedient. But I don't want you to be obedient like you're being extorted. I want you to be obedient because you love God. You understand that the relationship between you and your Father, between you, Jesus, your elder brother, you're able to understand the benefits of living for a God that cares and loves you.
Yes.
So thank you, Tabitha. Thank you, Ms. Woodard. And so we're going to close it out. We'll be talking about if finances get out of control next week, number 2. And I think we're going to get more into strategically attacking certain financial bills and those type of things. And kind of looking at, how you can start orchestrating a plan. Not to say that you're not doing it. We just can talk to you about what we do. And then the more we talk about what we do is only going to make us be more accountable to keep doing it.
Exactly.
So that way we don't fall off and we hold each other accountable, and that all these things on this board that we want to attack and not just pay off, but also save. Exactly. Not just pay off, but save too. And so we look at a certain number of where we want to be. And so we're going to continue to do that. We want to be, what is going on?
We're losing power. Okay.
So we're going to get off because we are losing. Our screen is starting to get dim. So I don't want to talk too fast, but we love you. We thank you for taking time out your busy schedule to sit and dine with us today.
Please make sure that you share the video, like the video. We also download it on YouTube. So it's under our name. You can either type in Gerald and Millicent Johnson Jr. Marriage Matters. It'll come up.
I got you.
Please share it so we can help somebody else, encourage somebody else that may have been doing it and kind of fell off because we know that can happen. Bye, baby.
Bye, baby.
And so we will see you next Saturday.
At
8 o'clock.
At 8.
And discuss marriage matters because your marriage matters.
We love you.
Love you.